I'm like, this is a new Lotus Emira. I'm lost for words. All I'm thinking is, how can I get myself one of these? Now that is a good sign when you first see a new car. Anyway, I need to gather my thoughts. Give me a moment. Right, I've got to pull myself together because I need to tell you loads about this car. There's things that will amaze you, things that will surprise you, things that might disappoint you, depending how boring you are. Oh my. Anyhow, I'm Matt Watson and you're watching Carwow.
Buying a new car? Then head to Carwow and my team will help you find your next car at a fair price. Carwow, your one-stop car buying comparison site.
Let's start off by talking about the price. This thing looks like a supercar, doesn't it? So you're probably thinking, I don't know, what, 130, 150 grand perhaps? Starts from £60,000. 60 grand for this. Really? I can't believe it. Anyway, if you want to get one of these like I do, you're probably going to need to sell your old car. And if you need help selling your old car, just click on the pop-out banner up there to go to Carwow because you can upload photos of your car, their details, and you'll get offers back on your old car from our trusted dealers. And then they'll give you the cash and drive it away. And then you can put some money down for one of these, which I really think you should do. You might be wondering, what exactly is this thing? It sort of looks like a Ferrari 488 from the side, apart from, thankfully, it doesn't have the horrible Ferrari door handles. These are much better. Yet this element here is like the Avaya hypercar from Lotus, you know, the £2 million electric thing. Okay, let me try and explain it to you. You see, it's not a replacement for the Elise, which actually came out way back in 1996, nor the Exige, nor the Evora, although those are stopping production. It's just a whole new thing. Lotus is doing a new thing. It's not a replacement for the Esprit either. That will come later. They're trying something new. And I think I like it. Let's talk about the design, starting at the rear, because there's certain elements which sort of remind me of other cars. For instance, this shape here is a bit McLaren-y. Then the shape of these lights, which is really cool, and the way you got the brake lights stretching across the back, is ever so slightly reminiscent of a Porsche 911 991 generation. Then this area here with the grating is sort of like an Aston Martin Vantage, though Lotus hasn't made the same mistake as Aston by giving their car pea shooter exhausts. They've actually enhanced them with these larger surrounds, which I'm okay with because they've put little cutouts in them which are the shape of the Lotus badge. It's cool. Now this element here is just like the vents at the back of Lotus's Avaya electric hypercar. Anyway, despite these sort of familiarities, this rear end just really works as a piece of design for me. I think it's beautiful. I'm just going to wait a minute. It's weird, but I couldn't help it. There's more Avaya-iness here at the front, especially these vents here, which feed air up over the car for improved aerodynamics. These LED lights look lovely as well. Oh, it's such a good looking thing. The Avaya theme continues down the side with the way that this is shaped into the air intake for the engine. Mind you, these bits here, the haunches, are reminiscent of the Elise. I think we need to talk about the name as well. Emira, not to be confused with Nissan Almira, okay? It means leader in some ancient language, apparently. Before we get too carried away, getting all jizzy over this beautiful new car, there is a problem we need to discuss. Now, Lotus's founder, Sir Colin Chapman, had a phrase: add lightness to a car. Make a car as light as possible, because by doing that you improve its performance, its efficiency, its handling, its ride comfort, its agility. Yet this car weighs in at 1,405 kilos, which is heavier than a Porsche Cayman S. It's also slightly heavier than the Evora, and it's about 300 kilos heavier than an Alpine A110. It's almost twice as heavy as the original Elise. Is poor old Sir Colin turning in his grave? Wait a minute, what happens if he was cremated? Maybe his carbon atoms are all agitated. What's going on? The truth is that towards the end of his life, Colin Chapman was actually trying to take Lotus up market with the Elite, the Eclat and the Excel. Not particularly memorable Lotuses, but that was his plan. And this is Lotus's plan with this car. You see, it's not supposed to be a lightweight sports car for weekends. It's a global car for everyday use to take on the Porsche Cayman. They want as many cells as the Porsche, and they just need to make it have a wider appeal. So with this, it's got the latest safety tech, it's got creature comforts, it's got soundproofing, so it's not a pain to drive on the motorway. You've got ambient lighting in here, you've got electric seats. Speaking of the seats, this one is positioned a little bit too high. For the production version, they will lower it down. But one thing I have noticed, which is a clear sign that it is a global car, is that it's designed for a bigger body. It's going to be sold in the US, obviously. In terms of quality, this car has got it. It just feels much more at market than any other Lotus I've sat in. And the design is really nice, pure, sporty feeling. I really do like the look of it. You've got two infotainment screens, main one here which has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, then a digital driver's display. They've done the graphics dark so that you don't get too distracted when you're driving. I actually prefer lighter screens, but you know, that's just personal preference. I like the way that they've separated out the climate controls there, which is handy. You're not having to do it through the screen. And you've got a gear selector there. This is the automatic, but you can get a manual. So it's still a proper driver's car. And when you have the manual, you can actually see the gear linkage under here. Speaking of which, when you've got the auto, that is storage. You've got some more storage here. You've got cup holders here. You've got big door bins. There's an OK glove box. This car is definitely designed to be a daily. You've also got a cover for the starter button, like on a Lamborghini. I am so impressed with what they've done. You know what? I think putting on a few pounds is well worth the upgrade in how this car feels to sit in. And anyway, Lotus knows a thing or two about making cars drive brilliantly. And they're not going to cock this up. So it's got a bonded aluminium chassis like the Evora had, though it's all new. Plus, it's got double wishbone suspension all round. Now everyone's going crazy about the new Porsche 911 GT3 having double wishbone suspension at the front rather than McPherson's strut because it's so much better at keeping the tyre contact patch consistent with the ground. This has got that set up. Also, it's got some big wheels, 20 inches as standard. They come with Eagle F1 Goodyear tyres, but you can get a Lotus driver's pack, and then you get Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s. That's for the track day fans. It's got some big brakes. Now, Lotus are keeping a bit secretive about some of the specs on this car. Maybe they haven't formalised them, or maybe they're just trying to drip feed us with news. Either way, I want to tell you the brake discs diameters. So I've got my tape measure here. What is it? Yeah, they're big. They're big at the front, and they're a bit smaller at the rear. And it appears that they're gripped by 4 piston calipers both back and front. It's impressive. Another thing you need to know is that the steering doesn't use electrical assistance. It uses good old-fashioned hydraulics, so you get more feedback through the wheel. Then there's the suspension systems, normal coil springs with passive dampers, though there are two choices. The Tour pack, which is slightly softer, and then the driver's pack, which is firmer. Now let's talk about the most exciting thing on this car. Its boot. It can hold a set of golf clubs. It's got 151 litres capacity. I'd like to show it you, but Lotus won't let us open this for reasons. If you need more space, there's 208 litres of extra storage behind the seats. Combined, you've got around 360 litres of space, which is less than you get in the boot and front boot on a Porsche Cayman, but it's more space than you get in the boot and front boot on an Alpine A110. Unlike those two cars, there's no extra storage under the bonnet on the Emira. Anyway, shall I mention the engines? May as well. Are you interested? There's two. So there's a 3.5 litre supercharged V6 that you get in the Evora and the Exige. Then there's the 2 litre 4-cylinder turbo from the AMG A45. Now I love that engine. I had one of those cars. It's a brilliant, brilliant engine. And if you have that engine, then you get the dual clutch 8-speed automatic gearbox from AMG as well, which has launch control. You also get a rear limited slip differential, regardless of which engine you go for. Now, if you want a manual, you have to have the 3.5 litre V6. And if you want an auto with that engine, then it's a torque converter auto. So I will probably go with the AMG engine, to tell you the truth. In terms of power, once again, Lotus are trying to drip feed us information. They're just saying that the engines will have between 360 and 400 horsepower, which puts it in the ballpark with the Porsche Cayman. Obviously mounted amidships, driving the rear wheels, perfect sports car setup. Sports car? Like I said at the beginning, it's more like a supercar. I definitely want one. I'm supposed to be buying a new house. Not sure which way it's going to go. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. If you didn't, just share it to loads of other people to show them how bad the video was. Now, why don't you let me know what you think of this car in the comments below. Are Lotus going in the right direction with it, or should they just stick to the lightweight sports cars of the past? if you're thinking about buying one of these, you can put a deposit down now and you'll get the V6 in spring next year and the 4-cylinder in summer next year. And if you need to sell your car, in order to be able to buy one of these, click on that box there to go to CarWow. We'll help you sell your car and get a great price for it from one of our trusted dealers. And if you want to watch some more videos, click on those windows there.